So LHMB is carpeting towards the base. Once again, LOL cancel their rally because they don't want to hit him. If I scout the base again, you can see that he's sending in another inf range heavy corp. He seemed to send that throughout the entire event. Although luckily for us, Nash does have an inf rally waiting, so he's going to launch that carpet before MB can change formation and smacks him out of the base. That's the second time this Baron that we've managed to beat NB. This time he did have a full base. The report isn't too bad. Killed 2 million of his troops. He killed 1.4 million of ours. But it was inf against inf phalanx, which isn't really a counter either way, but it still did a lot of damage to him. It's a pretty good hit considering that NB would be hitting close to 600% army attack and over 800% army HP. I've seen some other reports from this Baron from players hitting NB, and they're not pretty. Like, sometimes players hit him, get countered, and their rally loses 2.3 million troops. Now that doesn't sound very fun at all. Now we're going to skip forward 20 minutes later and scout Basil to see where his troop numbers are at. Now remember, Basil and Dutu are both running ×2 false info, so when you see their scout, just divide all of their troop numbers by 2 to see what they've actually got. Now Dutu started off Baron at 3.6 bill, Basil at 3 billion might, and they're now pretty much equal in might. In fact, Dutu is actually a bit lower than Basil now, and because both are capped, Dutu ended up capping Basil. They're now both at risk for being multi-rallied without their leader and potentially burning. Sugarcane hit Dutu with a range rally to probably see how much he'd lose, and he takes off a good 2.9 million troops there. Now Dutu actually stopped soloing for a bit and started boosting troops back, and to stop Basil from getting time, the other LH rally leaders started to hold the base for a bit longer and would only pull when someone launched a rally to kick them out. Now Dutu took about 10 minutes out to boost some troops. Maybe it was a bit longer, I'm not sure on how long exactly, but Basil didn't, and now LH have set 12 rallies on Basil's leaderless turf, and his T4 numbers are getting a bit low now. He's got no T5 because he's soloed them all into the base, and LH are starting to spam him now because the rallies are just about ready to walk. Now, can he take them? That's the question. Basil and Dutu are large players, but it's important to remember that their core might is around 1.1 to 1.2 billion, so they each only have around 400 million troop might, and that with no leader is pretty dangerous. It's quite easy to get burned, especially if you're being rallied by players who have stats like LH do. Now it's important to remember that Basil is in the province, so if he were to be burned, then he would be random teleported out and all the rallies on him will be cancelled. Now that's pretty useful because it stops him from getting instantly zeroed by this wave. Basil is almost out of gems at this stage in the Baron, so he's not able to boost back T4 like Dutu, and here come the rallies flying in from every direction. They're hitting his castle all at the same time. He's just gone down 180 million there. The next rally to hit him does walk back, and then Katie carpets in from the right and burns him out of the province with a Cav rally. Basil was defending in a range formation, and if you look at those messages on the kingdom board, it looks like the majority of those rallies were ranged, so they did counter him. If he'd gone in infantry wedge, he might have lasted longer. But yeah, there were 12 rallies in total and he only burned on the 11th, so if he'd taken 2 more, he would have been good. And some people are confused about this, so let me just clear it up. Even after the new leaderless stats update, if your leader is captured, you don't get any war stats from your gear or talents. You only get like farming, researching, and training stats. Alright, but Basil's Baron is not finished yet. He ports to the edge of the province and continues soloing, and he's going to keep soloing for pretty much until he runs out of troops. Now, every time Basil solos, he reactivates Fury, which then gives LH the chance to rally him again, but he doesn't care, guys. He will keep soloing until he is zeroed, and that's exactly what he does for the rest of the Baron. He eventually does run out of troops, and LH are going to continue rallying him, but as long as he keeps taking the hits in the province, then he's good, because they'll burn him out once all the other rallies will be cancelled and he'll be able to port back and keep soloing. But LH setting the rallies on Basil actually gave him a chance to retake the base and get another few minutes because LH didn't have any rallies on it that were ready to launch. But yes guys, it is now time for us to turn our attention to Dutu because he is still very much leaderless, and we were actually in communication with the DTF Alliance right now because we want to launch 10 simultaneous rallies on Dutu's turf. So right now Dutu is about 150 million bigger than Basil was when he was rallied, and that's after Dutu boosted back over 100 million troop might when he took that break. So let's scout Basil again because he's reappeared in the province now because LH are rallying him, and let's look at what he's got left. Remember, it's ×2, so he's showing 17 million troops. He'll only have maybe just over 8 million, but yeah, he now only has Cav with a bit of inf left, no range at all because he took the rallies in a range formation and they shredded his range front line. His T2 numbers are pretty much non-existent now, so he doesn't have enough T2 to cap a rally, so pretty much anything will burn him now. So LC3 are now walking on Basil with a range rally that he's not going to be able to defend against. So that's going to burn him out of the province. And then all the rallies on him are cancelled, so he can just port back and continue soloing for another 5 minutes until he's rallied again. And this kind of continues until Basil is completely out of troops, and then they start soloing him. So Dutu is being spammed now because the 10 rallies on him are ready to walk. You know, we don't have the same coordination as LH, but we are going to try anyway. Now, I've been in Barons where one of the players competing to win has dropped their troop might so low and lost their leader that they've been rallied and eventually burned. That happened with Winston, I think almost a year ago, and then K Baby Star about 6 or so months ago from Azura family. Both of those players that I was in Barons with, they got burned by their opponents because their troop might was too low, but never before have I seen both competing players get rallied like this. So one by one, the rallies are all released and are beginning to converge on Dutu's turf. Krolik is leading the charge. He's going to hit first. Most of the players hitting use Bunny, just like when they rallied Basil, because everyone's kind of expecting to get capped and they don't want to lose their leaders. But the gaps in the rallies do give Dutu a chance to heal because we're not in call like, well, not everyone's in call like LH's, so we can't all time the rallies to hit within a couple of seconds of each other. Dutu is only now just starting to be hit by the bulk of the rallies. You know, some are being carpeted in from all directions of the province, and he is just swallowing them. I believe, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was taking them in range phalanx because I saw a report later. But yeah, Dutu manages to take the first 10 rallies. So Dutu has dropped his ante in favour of a 70% attack boost, which is quite interesting because a bit earlier, before the rallies launched, he did have ante up because he, I think he was afraid of getting rallied. He didn't want us to know his troops were getting quite low. But now that he's capped all those leaders, there is even more of an incentive to rally him again. He's still in Fury, so he can't shield. He lost about 10 million T2 from that round. The scout before showed him at 50 million troops, and the scout after showed him at 29 million, and because it's ×2, you can tell that he lost 10 million troops. Now, over the next few minutes, a couple of rallies do hit him randomly, but a second wave is prepared. So we'll skip to that round of rallies walking. Now, Dutu has dropped down to the same might that Basil was when he started to be rallied, but the difference here is that Dutu now doesn't have much range left, so he's probably going to burn sooner. The rallies are starting to hit, but he's still eating them, and it's looking good for him until Old Dirty BBQ hits, and that hit burns him, sends him out of the province, and I do actually have that report to show you. You can see he had 9 million troops left there, and he was in range phalanx. BBQ sent cavalry. Dutu burned, which released all of his prisoners, including Basil's leader, so at least Basil does get to finish his Baron with his leader. Dutu is still capped by Nash. So the only thing left to now is to throw up some celebratory emotes. Now, I mentioned earlier that I have been in Barons where one of the players competing to win has been rallied and burned. Now, in Winston's case, I actually have a video on Winston and Star burning. Winston was burned by SDK and WOG family and KW family, but he was able to continue porting back to the province and soloing the base, and he was able to win his Baron by quite good margins as well. He got zeroed, but he won his Baron, and Winston doesn't really care for troops. Baby Star was burned, didn't win her Baron, unfortunately. So Dutu was tracked down after he burned, and everyone started setting rallies on him again because he doesn't have any range left, so it'd be quite easy to burn with cav rallies. But just as the rallies are preparing to walk, he shields. The big man has shielded. He doesn't want any more of that. And if you look at Basil got burned, but at least he kept trying. Dutu just says, nope, I don't want any more of that. I keep referring to this Baron as the most insane Baron of Wars Mobile because I've honestly never heard of another Baron where both of the players competing dropped down from over 3 billion might and then both got burned. A couple of times one has been burned, but not both. Unfortunately, Dutu is able to win this Baron. He did solo very well, and Basil was winning in the first hour, but then Dutu started to get his own time up, and we didn't have enough support rallies to kick Dutu out of the base when he was able to fill it up. So unfortunately, we do end up losing this one, but everyone played really well. Considering this is Basil's first time actually going for Baron himself, and only losing to LH by 7 minutes, that's pretty good going for him. You know, I'm proud of everyone's efforts, and hopefully we will be able to pull off the win next time. So thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed the content. Like and subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next one.